that note with Parker Whirling.
You're like the Nardwuar of Atlanta.
That would be kind of sick.
He's Canadian, right?
He is Canadian. He's like the most Canadian guy. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know, man, but like seeing how surprised artists are when he's like, "Hey, this is your high school band, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And they just go, "How do you know that?"
Dude, some comment was like, Nardwuar definitely knows who's on the Epstein files.
Oh my gosh.
Which is like, yeah,
doubt,
why haven't we like hired him to figure this shit out, dude?
He should be the head of the FBI.
He really should, dude. Move
Nardwuar.
over Cash Patel. Nardwar's coming in.
Oh my gosh.
All right, you ready to get this thing going?
Let's rip it.
Aaron Rizzo.
What's good?
Indie rock singer-songwriter, producer in Atlanta, Georgia. And my homie. And AI's biggest supporter on TikTok.
That's actually what I'm here to talk about.
I've never seen a guy love Suno more than this one right here.
I hope people stop watching right there.
Yeah, turn it off. But just, we're kidding, obviously. Man, I'm excited to have you back. I can't believe it's been so long since you've been on the pod.
I know, we were just talking about that. When was that? That was a long time ago.
It was at least maybe a year and a half ago, I think.
Which is at least 10 years.
Yeah, we were talking about the show that shall not be named.
Yes.
That you were on. But yeah, Nonstop Deathmatch has come out, and I don't even think that was out when I had you on the pod.
Really?
Or maybe it had just...
Well, I mean, it came out a year ago in June.
Okay.
So I feel like I was definitely on before that.
Yeah.
Maybe we were
maybe some singles
making it. Yeah.
I think Mouth Breather might have been out. Maybe Nostalgia. But anyway, we got you back on, and we got 2 more songs that we're going to talk about. Some new ones. Got Underhanded, and we got Scum. Which to me are like the flip side of the same coin.
Sure.
In a way. I don't know if it feels like that to you. But Scum kind of feeling like this really moody, dark, shoegazy vibe, and then you flip the coin and it's this like hopecore.
You're not the first person to call it hopecore, and it's so funny.
Dude, I saw Troy said that.
Oh, maybe he was the
I
other
think
person
Troy.
I saw
Yeah, Troy put it on
that.
a story. I'm like, it is hopecore.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
kind of got a what's the word? And this is a compliment, but switchfoot. Thing going on. You know, some people don't. You know, might not take that as a compliment, but I think it is.
More. Thanks, bro. Yeah, it's been an interesting release season, I think, especially in the wake of Deathmatch. I kind of have been hesitant to dive into longer works, like albums or EPs again. It's all I've ever done since I've been releasing music. I've released a couple of singles, obviously, over the years, but I think I really just wanted to, like, not take it so seriously. And I think that's why Underhanded sounds the way it does.
Yeah.
And like, sorry, I'm just readjusting here.
You're good.
These are comfy chairs. Yeah, no, you're totally right. I think they are kind of different sides of the same coin. Scum is definitely, especially lyrically, you know, the content in Scum is much more introspective and heavy than Underhanded. I mean, Underhanded is like exactly what it sounds like. I think that was kind of the point. It was, you know, I'm like a serial overthinker when it comes to releasing music, and Underhanded was kind of an exercise in don't think too much about it, just have fun making it and put it out. And you're allowed to make music that sounds fun. Not everything has to be deep and introspective, and you don't have to be a poet every time. And it actually it took me a long time to sit with that and like that song after it was done. You know, we finished mixing it, and I was like, "Fuck, is this song lame?" You know, it's like I said, I just tend to overthink the whole process, and I fall into that trap sometimes of, you know, if it wasn't difficult, it wasn't worth it. But Scum wasn't difficult, or not Scum, sorry. Underhanded wasn't difficult. It's just like a fun pop rock song, and I think it ends there, you know? Like, it's not that deep. And it's fun. We were about to go out on the road again, and
let's plug the dates quick. I meant to bring that up at the top.
We're in this week. We're in Greensboro, on August 5th at the Flatiron, and then the following day we're in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Evening Muse, August 6th. And then we have a week off, and then we're going up to the Northeast. We're doing Rochester, New York on August 14th, New York City on August 16th, and then coming back down to Nashville on the 20th, and ending in Atlanta on the 27th.
Nice.
So it's more of a sporadic group of runs.
Spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's really easy to call it a tour and just say for marketing purposes.
Yeah,
we're going on tour. Here are the dates. But
well, I saw the one video you made about gatekeeping, or maybe it was Desmond. Actually, you guys are kind of the same to me sometimes.
We're just two white guys.
Yeah, two handsome white guys who are really good at singing and playing guitar and songwriting.
Damn, thanks.
I think it was him that was talking about people deciding what is a tour and what isn't a tour.
Oh yeah, that was his video.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
And he's right. I mean, I never once thought y'all's wasn't a tour. I'm like, I see 7 or 8 dates on a post.
Yeah,
it looks like a tour to me.
We're going to different places, playing in places we usually don't play.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's a tour.
Sounds like a tour to me. I don't understand if somebody's saying it's not just because it's spread out.
Yeah.
And like, especially in this day and age, it's like we all have to work.
Yeah.
Jobs that aren't this.
Right.
So if you got to be a weekend warrior and go on the weekends, I think that's totally fine. And you're going during the week as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a weird thing. It's a weird hill to die on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's other things we probably could be talking about other than, is that a tour? Is that not a tour?
Yeah,
who
it
cares?
seems kind of inconsequential.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we're excited, man. It's we've been working on this for a really long time, and it's been interesting because post-COVID, booking has become 10 times as difficult. I don't know if you've experienced that with your shows, but just getting responses from venues, getting things locked in, it feels a little bit more wishy-washy, and I've kind of hypothesized that it's because maybe venues had to lay some people off during COVID and get rid of maybe someone who had been a dedicated booking person, and now someone maybe running the bar or the GM is wearing a couple different hats and now they're doing the booking. Yeah. Maybe that's just a guess. I mean, obviously every venue is different, and some venues are still very good at responding. It's not, I don't want to do a sweeping generalization here, but overall, I just have noticed it's been a little bit more difficult to lock things in, and yeah, it's been interesting. So I'm glad we kind of put it together in the way we did. And it's nice just, not doing too many dates. It's just, we're going, playing important markets, and then, we can kind of reassess. Like the whole point of this was really just to carve out a route and to start building relationships kind of on the East Coast mostly, and venues that we don't normally play. And so that's kind of the point. And just to like spend time with friends and,
totally,
have some laughs on the road and whatnot.
Yeah. What was the process of actually booking your own tour? I know you and Desmond have been working on it for a while. Yeah. And it's pretty intimidating to get like 1 or 2 shows in a row, let alone like 7 or 8. So how is that process for y'all, and what did you learn that maybe you'll try to do a little bit differently next time?
Sure. Well, I have to give a shout out to Sydney Ling, who is acting as our TM on this tour, and she has done a ton of the groundwork with the booking and keeping our documents organized and keeping us in check.
Yeah.
And Desmond as well. Desmond has been working really hard on this. I mean, we all have. It's been a really long process, but I think that we had a lot of meetings up front about a huge bulk of the work is, where do we want to go? Where do we want to play? What venues do we want to try to pursue? Because, obviously the closer it gets, the more limited your options become. And so we need to make those decisions pretty early on. But we split it up. We kind of delegated, all right, you have contacts in this city, you have history here. Why don't you pursue that? Maybe line some stuff up. And for me, I tackled Rochester and New York City. Those were kind of my two. Yeah. Because I have connections in both places. Yeah. And we kind of collectively went in on Atlanta, and then Nashville, Desmond and Sydney secured. And Desmond is from the Charlotte, Greensboro area, and so he had no problem getting in there. And Sydney did a ton of the groundwork on the Florida dates that we did in June, which were kind of like a soft launch for this, just kind of seeing how things worked, making sure our equipment worked in harmony and all that stuff. So it was just so much planning. And it's so crazy because, I think of the amount of meetings we had and decision making that we had to go through, and it's only 8 dates.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine doing a 32 date tour and being out for 3-4 months type of thing. Obviously when you have booking and management and all that,
they're doing it.
Yeah. They hold a lot of connections in that area that they can just reach back out to people and whatnot. But that being their full-time thing, obviously managers and booking agents wear a lot of hats, and credit where credit's due. But, being the artist and not needing to be delegated all of that is really nice and something I'm currently looking for. So if anybody watching knows some booking agents with an open spot on their roster,
hit up your boy.
Please help.
Yeah. That stuff is tough, man. I remember I was trying to do a mini tour, planning it with someone who also were going to places that neither one of us were local to.
Yeah.
And we had a friend of ours booking, doing all the booking, and she said she was having a hard time convincing people to allow 2 non-locals to take up space on a bill.
Yeah.
Because usually a 3-band bill is kind of ideal. Well, 2-band bill is usually ideal, but
financially a 3-band bill is
3-band or even 4-band. But yeah, how did you guys run into that problem at all when looking at other cities?
Definitely. I think, and again, it goes back to the post-COVID thing. A lot of venues are working to get back to where they were before COVID. And so I can imagine it's harder for them to take a chance on 2 traveling acts as opposed to, having a really solid, maybe local support and that whole thing. But we definitely did run into that. It wasn't something we necessarily had a lot of discourse with the venues. It was more so within ourselves. We had thought about booking Philadelphia, Columbus, Ohio, and taking kind of a Midwest route back down to Atlanta as opposed to kind of going back down the coast.
Yeah.
Just so we could hit some new markets. We're going to hit either Louisville or what's the other big city in Kentucky? Why am I...
Lexington.
We were going to hit that, but it kind of came down to a decision of we don't really have any pull there. And, we can only post on TikTok so many times and get random people to the show. And that's cool when that works, but it's hard to bang on that because, for example, when we played Tallahassee, like there was a lot of TikTok interest, but there was not a lot of people at the show. And then the following night we were in Jacksonville, and there was like a little bit of TikTok interest in that, but not as much as Tallahassee, and the Jacksonville show sold out. So it's hard to gauge whether.
How do you think that happened? Because you guys haven't been to Jacksonville before.
Yeah, I think, I have to give a shout out to Blue Jay Listening Room and Kara, the owner there, and just the whole staff. She has curated such an incredible space there. It's kind of similar to Eddie's Attic in the sense that it's a listening room, but partially they just have a built-in crowd of people that will just look at the calendar and be like, that looks cool, and go, which is insane that exists in 2026.
Yeah.
But Troy has roots there. He lived there for the better part of 10 years.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
we have some homies there, but there was also a lot of people that came up to me after the show. They were like, I saw your TikTok and I just came out, and
it's a crazy feeling.
It's insane
when
bro.
That happens.
That will never not be crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no matter how many times it happens, I don't know how long I can keep doing that and it's still working. But it's worked for a lot of the shows we've done, and I've been incredibly grateful for all the people that have seen a stranger on the internet and gone, I'm willing to move mountains to get out of my house and go to a show. Like that's just crazy to me.
For me, it's like when it comes to doing that on TikTok, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll post a bunch of TikToks about one show and see what happens. But in my mind at first, when I started doing that, I'm thinking like, I would never see a random person's TikTok and be like, you know what, I'm going to go to their show.
Right.
But there are people who don't think that way.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they're like, I just want to go check something out.
Yeah.
And now the last 2 shows I've played, one of them that I was like the headliner, there were like 4 or 5 people who came because I was doing that. And that was the first time that's really happened. And I was like, I can't believe this. And then I played another one where I met like 4 people and they had said the same thing about a different band that was on the bill. And they like drove 45 minutes to an hour just to see this band of who they don't know and probably just heard one song because they saw it on TikTok. And they were like, yeah, let's go check it out. And that's really cool. And that makes me excited about humanity in a sense that like, oh, even though, a lot of like we're all addicted to our phones and stuff like that, there's clearly people craving a communal experience and wanting to get out of their house and go do something. Yeah. Like with music.
I think that's such a good point. And I think that we have to address the fact that like music is our full-time gig and it's what we do professionally. And for folks who don't do that, music holds a much different context in their life, right? It is an outlet. It is something they look forward to, you know, like they don't see all the moving parts and the details. And so they're like, yeah, music is always great. And so I'm starting to understand how someone can see a TikTok and be like, I was going to go out Friday night, but like, this guy seems cool. Let's go check it out. You know, tickets aren't expensive, whatever. But it's still like, no matter how much I understand that, it is still crazy. Like it would be crazy if phones didn't exist and people just showed up like that. I mean, I played to empty rooms for 10 years. And so it's always crazy when people show up, you know, like that's just such a wild feeling. And even if one person is like, I saw you on TikTok and I decided to take a chance and it was awesome, I had a great time. Like that just is so cool to me. And it does show that, you know, there is an element of social media that is kind of driving people towards third spaces again. And that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So, but again, it's a crapshoot every time. You know, there have been shows where I yap about them for weeks leading up, and it's radio silence, and then you know I'll post one time about another show, and it blows up, and it's, you know, people are like, can't wait, I got it on my account. I'm like, that's just fucking insane, dude.
It is.
Like,
there's no rhyme or reason. To it.
Yeah, you just have to post a lot, and like, I mean, every single one's a lottery ticket if you think about it. Like, so yeah, it's crazy.
I wanted to ask about, you know, you as a producer as well. We've gone through the tour. We've gone through a little bit of the new music. But you produce a lot of people in Atlanta. And if you're listening to this and you need a producer, hit up your boy. But later. I wanted to ask about, you know, as a producer, and I've been producing people for a while, what are some really good things that a client or, you know, a singer-songwriter who comes in and brings a song to you, what are some good what's a good mindset they can have coming in to work with a producer for the first time?
Well, for the first time is interesting. Like, if I'm working, like the very first session I have with someone, I'm not going to necessarily push them as hard as I would in maybe our second or third and, you know, all the rest of the sessions. I think that I'm a lot of the stuff I'm going to say is just going to echo what a lot of other producers said. And it's just like coming in with an open mind and remembering why you chose me, I think is a big thing. And because I've had people who come in, I love your work, blah, blah, blah. I'm excited to work with you. And then when I try to do my thing, they're like, maybe not. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but maybe I'm not the best guy for this gig. You know, obviously like your vision is your vision and I want to be true to that. But honestly, I think like the biggest thing for me is when artists are involved. You know, when I first started producing and professionally and like for money, I was living in Syracuse at the time, and I had so many sessions where people would come in, pay for an 8-hour session, which is crazy. I never want to do 8-hour sessions again, unless we're in a real studio.
Yeah.
And they would fall asleep on the couch, and I would just be producing their music while they're asleep. I'd be like, I'm going to take my lunch break. They're passed out. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? And you know, I've even in my studio now, I have sessions where I'm working on someone's song and they're just kind of sitting on their phone and just, I'm like, what do you think of that? And they're like, what? And I'm going, you're paying for this time, and it's not cheap, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, pull a fucking chair up, like be involved, you know. I'd rather you tell me no to a bunch of stuff than you just kind of be a pushover and because at what point is it just my song? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this sounds like an Aaron Rizzo song with someone else singing on it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and obviously as a producer, I'm like, I'm not just going to like make my sound for someone else. You know, I'm going to try to give them their own thing. But, you know, I'm just a little guy. Like I need guidance on where you want this to go. And
well, the worst thing would be like, they don't really say anything. And then you end up making all these decisions because they are kind of just lukewarm on everything. Yeah. And then by the end, they're like, well, it's not really like what I wanted. Yeah. They're like, well, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, right. And
you got to be involved.
Yeah. I think some artists are still working out that muscle of how to push back at a producer and how to kind of stand their ground and this and that, because and this is something I've experienced when I really liked a producer's work and I'm going into work with them. I kind of went in with like a little bit of a glazing mindset of like everything they do is sick, you know.
The producer?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've experienced that when I'm working with producers on my music, and I've also experienced that with people coming in and hiring me as a producer for their music. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's like the peer mindset. We need to come in as peers, you know. There's not a hierarchy here. Like we are coworkers, peers, colleagues, whatever you want to call it, collaborators. And you need to view it as such. Like, you know, I'm not afraid of people pushing back. I'd rather have too much direction and need to be like, put my hand on your shoulder and be like, okay, let's back off a little bit. Like you're micromanaging this a little too much. I'd rather have that than people not giving any direction at all. Mm-hmm. Because that's not fun. And I feel like we're not achieving anything. And if you're on your phone, that tells me that you're like, how do I say this? It kind of tells me that it's not worth your time. Like, to be honest, it's like, it's the same with people, you know, using AI for music. I don't want to use that as a segue, but like,
let's do it.
Oh, fuck. How long you got? No, I'm just saying in the sense that if you're not willing to like be present and put in the effort, like why should I? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna mirror. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm gonna, you know, if you're giving me 10%, like I'm not gonna put my whole pussy into this fucking song.
Of course,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just the biggest thing. Like I don't really care if you're good. I don't care if you have a lot of experience or not. Like I just want you to be present. I think that, you know, that's been something that has helped me kind of weed out certain artists that I like to work with and not over the years. Is like, are you present? Are you not? Like, you know, I have Melodyne. Like I can make you good. You know, I'm not worried about it.
No, that's a pretty baseline requirement. Just being present in the room and how much that will really help. And I could see how people can be a little nervous to say anything to a producer because there's, you know, I remember when I hadn't really worked with a producer before and starting that, and especially when it's clear that they have done this way longer than you and just know the ropes a lot more than you, it can be hard to speak up when 95% of what they're doing is great, but then there's like 5% you're like, I don't know about this. But you're like, well, you know, they've been so perfect every other time. Does this make sense? But it's like, if you have that gut feeling that's like, no, this song shouldn't have like this big bass drop right here in my folk song, you know, then maybe it's okay to like be like, hey, can we? And of course, if they're a good producer, they will be like, oh my God, like let's do what makes sense. But then the interesting thing is when there's a little bit of that friction, and
it's inevitable.
You feel really strongly about something and someone else feels strongly. How do you navigate that?
Well, I think that's such a good question. I think it comes out the most in vocal tracking, where someone will do something.
People are the most insecure usually.
Yeah, and someone will do something and I'm like, that was so dope. There was so much emotion in that take, and they're like, I want to redo it, and I'll go, are you sure? let's listen back one more time, and I'll dress it up a little bit. I'll put some compression EQ on it. And they're like, yeah, I think I want to do it again. And I'm like, okay, this is like verbatim when I say, I'm going to save this take just in case we want to come back to it later. And, there are some times where I'm just like, you're wrong. The artist, and other times I'm like, okay, I respect your opinion where you want to go with this, and it's your song. I get it. I think the hardest part is like drawing the line between having kind of an adventurous spirit and experimental spirit in songs and knowing what you want that's like concrete and foundational. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't like to, this is kind of getting into the nitty gritty, but like, I don't like comping vocals or really takes it all. I'm like, just sing it until it's right. Like, and we'll roll with that. And if we have multiple options that are good, we'll save them. Yeah. But it's like, I try to do everything I can to not let an artist get bogged down on a certain spot or overthink something. Like, let's just move on. We'll come back to it. Big brush strokes. Like, let's move the big rocks first. Yeah. We can't get nitty gritty with a vocal if there isn't a vocal yet. Like, let's just track it and then figure it out. And I feel like I've always found that process kind of helps people to loosen up about stuff and not be so, it needs to be this way. Like, sometimes you got to hear it a couple different ways and hear different opinions on it for it to be cool. But I don't know. It's hard, man, because there are times, like I was in a session a couple weeks ago and I did something that I knew was so dope. I was like, this is so cool. This makes this section so awesome. The artist was like, I don't like that. And in my head, I'm like you're wrong. But, that's just like how it is, man. There's always going to be like those ideas that I had that just live in the hall of,
and that's what you have your own music for. You get to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But, even with my own stuff, sometimes it's hard for me to like get outside my comfort zone. And, we're working on a song right now. The mix engineer I work with, his name is Justin Spalding. He came over and we were working on one of my new songs, and like, let's just have fun with stuff. And, we're putting a breakdown in it. And we're like, should we put a gunshot like right at the breakdown? And he's like, yeah, I'll distort it and make it kind of like, like
not sound quite like a gunshot. Yeah.
And like every time we listened back, we just erupted in laughter. And I'm like, that's what it's about, man. Like that.
Dude, we should keep that. If you laugh, I feel like laughter is a huge point in the right direction. Yeah. You're like, okay, there's something about like, I saw this video a long time ago of John Mayer talking about working with the trio, Pino Palladino and Steve Jordan, and how like they'd get together and they knew that things were really great when he just couldn't stop laughing while they were playing. And I like there's some truth to that, and I don't know why we do that. Yeah. But like if something really works, I just laugh because I'm like, this is so fucking sick. Yeah. And that's when you're like, okay. Yeah, this is great. We don't have to touch this.
That was the reaction I had watching Seif track all the drums on Deathmatch. Like the way Maze is set up, the control room is elevated above the live room, and there's a window where you can see down. And when he was, I think it was specifically when we were tracking "Why Am I So in Love with You," I was just kind of peering out the window, just cracking up. I'm like, yeah, he's doing everything right. Like it's what a cool feeling, dude. Like, but no, I totally agree with that. I think another piece of advice I would give to artists is just like, don't take yourself too seriously. Yeah. People just do that shit too much, bro. It's not that deep. In 100 years, all new people, in the words of Theo Captain. It's like, we're not going to really be here that long. Like, we may as well have a good time with it. And that's something that took me fucking 12 years of making music to learn.
Man, that's so real.
Yeah. But I feel like unfortunately that's just like how it goes. So
yeah. Dude, we totally forgot to talk about the album you picked from the record collection.
I wasn't sure if we were just going to do it at the end or something.
I know usually I do it at the beginning, then we just started going, and I was like, oh, we totally forgot that. So, but let's get into that now. What did you pick from my record collection?
I picked Wave by Antonio Carlos Jobim. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry.
Google made it sound like that was correct.
I'm just a little guy. Please go easy on me.
Dude, that album, so sick. I mean, I'll be honest, I was definitely expecting Little Queens of the Stone Age. That's our shared love. Yeah. But this album, I have it because my very close friend who I lived with for a few years in LA, anytime one of us drove the other to the airport to like fly back home, we would listen to this album.
That's so
and we'd play
cool.
from the beginning. And he only found it because he just loved the cover.
It's a great cover.
It's like a
dude.
blue giraffe running.
Yeah, if you can't see, it's just a giraffe kind of running across some land.
Yeah, but it's like crazy colors too. This like bright blue and green.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What is this?" So he put it on, and as soon as it started, we were like, "Whoa, this is
so good.
Groovy."
It's so good, man. And I totally agree. I think it would have been really easy to pick the Queens of the Stone Age record and talk about that. And I feel like a lot of those influences and the stories that might follow are kind of obvious with my music in particular. But this record kind of caught my eye. I was introduced to this record within the last 2 years. And I guess I was introduced to this artist before I was introduced to this record, because many people might not know this, but I did study classical guitar in college.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I wouldn't call myself the best keeper of the pedagogy. I was a college student and getting stoned all the time and didn't really care about it. But I did have an amazing professor in that sense. His name is Pablo Cohen. And it was funny. We were literally talking about this last night with some of my buddies. For some reason, in my recording major at school, we weren't allowed to study jazz guitar. We had to study classical. And at the time, that really irritated me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, jazz is going to be so useful, blah, blah, blah. And while I still hold that sentiment that jazz would have been probably good to study in the sense of knowing more about my instrument and knowing how to kind of navigate the fingerboard a little bit better. The classical guitar taught me more about like metaphorically how to hold a guitar and how to like get the most out of that instrument, and how to like your touch and just your like, this is going to sound weird, but your like disposition when holding it's such a living instrument. And I didn't fully appreciate that at the time, but now that I'm older and have kind of reaped a lot of the benefits from that instrument, I appreciate it a lot more. Classical guitar is the reason I'm really well versed in finger picking and all the different methods with that, and being good at guitar without needing a pick. I attribute that to studying classical guitar, and I don't know. There's just something about an instrument that isn't amplified with electricity or steel strings, for that matter. I mean, nylon strings are even quieter than steel, and so how to go about playing that instrument in a way that gets the most out of it, and knowing when to project and when to pull back, and how that alters people's perception, and pulling back pulls people in, and then when you project, it like hits harder. Like there's this not weird, but a really beautiful way to go about classical guitar that can, I don't know, it just gives you a feeling in your stomach where you're like, whoa, like that's really, it feels like that instrument was made of like flesh and blood. You know what I mean? Whereas I don't necessarily feel that way with jazz guitar personally. I know a lot of people probably do, and I totally respect that. But I've learned a lot of jazz theory throughout the years, and just playing a lot, and playing in the wedding band and playing cocktail hours. It's like you just pick it up over the years. But I remember we would study some of his songs in college, and it didn't hit me until I kind of rediscovered this music, and specifically him. I was like, oh shit, like we played some of his pieces in college. Like that's so crazy. And so when this record got reintroduced to me through a friend, I was like, we were waiting for someone to get ready, and I was sitting with her friend at their dining room table, and him and I didn't really know each other that well, but we had a Bluetooth speaker, and he He's from Brazil, I believe, and so he put this record on. We were just kind of talking about that kind of music. I was like, dude, what is this? He's like, it's Joe Beam. And I was like, oh, wait, that guy has, I kind of put all the pieces together. And so it's kind of become a really important album in my life of like, anytime I need to kind of touch grass, so to speak, with music, I'll like put this on.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, okay, that's what it's all about. I never remember that. And so the fact that you have it is insane. I mean, I never expected, like, you have such a diverse record collection here for, those who can't see it. It'll be Queens of the Stone Age, then a classical record, then a Beatles record, then I don't know, like a hip hop record. It's just like, it's so crazy, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Well, I got to shout out my buddy Pierce for that Antonio Carlos Jobim record. He got me that. I'm pretty sure he got me that. If anything, he got me into it. Either he got it for me or my dad may have gotten it for me.
Yeah.
Because he knew I liked it. Yeah. But yeah, it's such a great album, and it's funny that this guy Joe Beam, he's like just a mega star in Brazil,
right?
And like the average American doesn't know him. I didn't know him,
right?
But then you read about him and you're like, he was the guy. Like, he was the guy. And
what I think is so cool about this, and I'm gonna make a couple of guesses here, so don't hold me to these, but I love the use of, there's a lot of like orchestral instrument use on this record, but also there's drums and percussion and everything. And I would imagine someone like Jose Gonzalez probably was very inspired by this.
I don't think I know him.
He's like he's a singer-songwriter, but you've definitely heard his music. If you've ever seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, that movie? He did a lot
long time ago.
Yeah, he did a lot of the music in that movie.
Okay.
But he plays classical guitar, and he'll sing in Spanish sometimes, and his records just in the best way sound like the color beige. If you listen to him, you'll understand.
Okay.
But, listening to Joe Beam, I'm like, if you go to the artists you love and then find out who they love, and I'd imagine that Joe Beam is that thing of like, it's your favorite artist's favorite artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like Jose Gonzalez was a huge inspiration for me, and so I would imagine, if he's watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, but very inspired by this. And that's just so cool, man. I love that. And, I if I can be like fully honest, I despised classical guitar while I was in college.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I was like,
you had such a beautiful monologue about it a second ago.
I think it just took me a really long time to kind of fully develop that appreciation and kind of deference for it. But I hated it in college, man. I was like, oh, it's so boring. Like, I just want to make big ass rock music or whatever. And I still want to make big ass rock music, but I think it's like, it's kind of like the moments in your life where you realize you're like, wait, I can't hear the highway. You know what I'm saying? If you live near, like I live right near a highway, and there's these moments where I'll be outside, I'm like, oh shit, I can't hear the highway right now. And like in a musical sense, that's what listening to this music now is for me. It's like I said, like moments of touching grass where I was like, okay, let's like get away from like the super produced kind of stuff for a little bit, and which I love, dude. I mean, I was literally listening to Boys Like Girls on the way here. I fucking love that band, but it's just a nice kind of grounding moment to indulge in music like this sometimes. And now that I needed to kind of go through that in college to fully appreciate it now, which I'm glad that I'd rather it be that way than the other way around, like loving it in college and then burning out from it and hating it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I only had kind of 4 years of despising it, and now I can just appreciate it and love it for the rest of my life.
Totally.
And I feel bad for my professor. I was just like such an awful student. I just like never practiced. And
well, maybe he's listening, and he's
Pablo, I love you, and thank you for everything you did for me. But funny enough, when we played that show with James recently at Eddie's,
was he there?
No. He lives in Ithaca.
Okay. I don't know why I jumped to that.
That's funny. Fair assumption. It felt like the segue was going there, but when we played Ghost, I like opened that song with a classical piece.
Oh.
And it's called Lagrima, and it was the piece that I auditioned for college with. And so,
Whoa.
and it's the only piece.
And when you were playing it, I was like, what the fuck's happening? I was like, have we started the song yet? I don't remember it being this long, this intro.
Oh, dude, just following the fucking spirit of God. But it's the only piece I still remember by heart. And maybe it's because it's like a trauma thing. I'm so nervous for my audition. I just felt like I needed to internalize it in my DNA. But I love to just go back and play that piece sometimes, especially on like a baritone guitar with like a bunch of effects and stuff. I'm like, this is so cool. Taking classical pieces out of that world and putting them in more of a contemporary, like weird, whatever you want to call it, world. I really love doing that now. And so I've thought about recently going back and kind of brushing up my skills on reading music, because I didn't know how to read music going to college, and I kind of learned while I was there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I miss like just sitting down with this is going to sound so camp, but like sitting down with a cup of coffee and a classical guitar and just having sheet music in front of me. And with my glasses on the tip of my nose. I don't wear glasses, but if I did, they'd be on the tip of my nose.
Yeah, of course.
Looking at it while playing it.
Like,
and
yes.
And like with my pencil that I've had for 13 years, notating the music, you know. Sometimes I miss that. There's just like such a simplicity in that, and there's no like end goal of that. And I think that's something I really struggle with music, to kind of like sum all this up, is like feeling like just purely enjoying music for the love of the game, and not feeling like I need to gain followers or push my career forward with it. And it's like, I miss that feeling sometimes. And where I'm at currently, the more that my career kind of like moves forward and slightly upward, the more I need to kind of touch those roots of remember why I started playing in the first place. And I feel like classical guitar is just such a great way to do that. Of like, I don't have a recital to prepare for. I'm not going to do this at a show, but this is purely just to learn and to like deepen my relationship with this instrument. Because now singing is so tied to playing guitar for me that it is nice to kind of go back to my roots of just being a guitar player, feeling like I needed to sing, you know?
Yeah.
I never wanted to sing when I was a kid. I absolutely hated it, and kind of fell into that role because someone in our band, my first band, like we had to kick him out because he was just very problematic and slid into that role. And so it was never a primary thing. Yeah, right. Exactly. And so classical is a way for me to kind of equal parts sit in a comfort zone, but also push myself a little bit in terms of my, you know, my mental acuity in regards to reading and playing music. So it's something I'm trying to get back to, and, you know, records like that are kind of helping push me in that direction.
That's awesome. Yeah. When you make anything your whole life, there's like a longing for taking it back to a simple time when you were just learning parts of it for the sake of it, not for an end goal.
Yeah, it's difficult, man. And I hit that burnout really hard in college. I was like, a good buddy of mine, Nigel Croston, we overlapped a couple years in college, and he was a drummer, and he played drums in my band for a long time. I remember this one time I was like, dude, I'm just so burnt out. Like, I don't know if I want to do this. And he has such a funny way of giving advice, because like everything he says is funny, but it's also very deep. And you know, sometimes he just gives the best advice. I just love this dude so much. And he was like, man, anytime I'm feeling that way, I just lock myself in a practice room with a drum kit and put on New Found Glory and just hit the drums as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And you know, he was studying jazz and percussion and just like all these really very difficult paths of being a drummer.
Kind of nuanced and
very, very technical. And he's like, bands like New Found Glory are why I started playing drums in the first place.
Yeah.
And I remember that when he told me that, I like went back and put a record on. I can't remember which one it was that I had listened to a lot when I was a kid, and just like played power chords along with it. And I was like, whew, I feel like I could take a deep breath after that. I was like, okay, no, we still got it. Like this is still the reason and kind of the essence of what I do. And it's so easy to lose that. So as I get older, it's more important to like find stuff like that within music, but also outside of music, and hobbies that aren't music, and things I love to do that, you know, bring me joy without an end goal. Again, it's
Yeah.
it's that thing. It's like, I played soccer my whole life. I love soccer. It's my favorite sport ever. And some of the guys and I are thinking about joining a rec league and just doing that again. And I'm like, oh, it's like the thing I'm most excited for right now, ironically.
Whoa.
And I think two things can be true at once. I can be very serious about my music career and like do things to push that forward, but also be super excited about the soccer league I want to join or the video game I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I used to think that those everything was a distraction from music. And I'm like, dude, if I don't fill my cup, I'm cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just won't, like this won't last,
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. Now that I'm getting older, it's like, I love baking.
Yeah, dude.
And I get
and you're fucking good at it too, man.
Dude, I got some banana bread for you, by the way.
Oh, dude. I literally
Have
had some
some
banana
after
bread
this.
pudding last night.
Oh, well, damn, that sounds good.
I mean, I'll gladly indulge in your
Yeah, I got you, man.
invention.
Yeah, just finding things that are like outside of the thing that you love. Like you can find other things you love, and it's a really nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah. It reminds you you're a person.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so easy to just become a fucking machine when you're just working on music all the time, man. And that's just a quirk that
Or
comes
just
with
doing
it.
anything that makes you think about like, all right, this is gonna get me to this, and then I'm gonna,
Right.
we'll be there, and then and it's like, with baking, like, there's none of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, you've had those cookies that I've made, and I've made them for
bro.
people, and they're like,
Change my brain chemistry.
dude, you should sell these. I'm
Yeah.
like, I do not need another fucking thing in my
A
life
business venture.
where I have to think about how I can, prostitute this
Yeah.
and make money from it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to give them to people when I see them, and that will be that.
Yeah.
And that's been really nice to just have one thing like that.
It's amazing, dude. I almost call it like a never enough thing in your life. And like for a lot of us, music is our never enough thing in the sense that no matter how far we get with it, it'll never be enough. You know, we'll always want to keep going, always want to go further. And obviously, there are amazing milestones you hit and you can actually be present in those moments and recognize like this is enough. But in reality, like we all love to keep going with that. But with something like baking, it's like, there's no such thing as never enough with this.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. I like to do this sometimes, and after I'm done and I clean up and the dishes are away, it's over. And I don't I don't feel like I need to, go work on my website about it.
Right,
it's like,
right.
Fuck that shit, dude. Like having hobbies. Like hobbies
yeah.
I feel like hobbies are sometimes just have a bad connotation to them, and like people like there's been this culture of like the death of hobbies because everything needs to be monetized, everything needs to make you money or gain you followers, and it's like hobbies are the best thing that has ever happened to us, and it's a great way to meet new people outside of your field that you wouldn't, and like just do things that kind of fill your cup and bring you life, and that should never have a bad connotation to it. That is absolutely worth your time. And unfortunately right now we're in this like hypebeast culture of like optimizing everything.
Yeah.
It kind of goes hand in hand with the AI stuff. It's like everything
Maxing.
needs to be optimized. Everything needs to be maxed. Yeah. And it's like I'm trying to min, dude. I want to min my time. You know what I mean? Like wasting time sometimes is just like never actually a waste. It's time well spent. So it's, again, like we're all gone in such a few amount of years. It's like, why would we not fucking do the shit we enjoy?
Let's just
At
vibe
the risk
out.
of sounding super heady about it, but whatever. Who cares? That's how it is. So
Well, I think that's a beautiful note to wrap this podcast on.
yes,
Mr. Aaron.
So I feel like we went kind of. Did we go kind of long? Have we been
about
cooking?
50 minutes. It's not too bad.
Oh, that's not horrible.
No, not even a full hour.
I've yapped for longer than that.
Oh yeah, dude, it's easy to. I'm trying to keep them not too long nowadays because it literally, I mean, it's so easy. We went 50 and we could go another 50.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on, talking about the new songs, talking about the tour, which everybody should go check out.
Yes.
I'll
please.
have the dates plugged in the description so you can check that out.
Ticket link. We'll
Ticket
throw
link.
the ticket link.
Yeah. But thanks again for coming on, man. Always a pleasure.
Dude, thanks for having me. I appreciate that you have this space for people to share their thoughts.
Of course.
And just bullshit. And
just
waste
bullshit.
time.
Exactly. And waste time.
That's right.
Just like that.
Parker's Wasting Time podcast.
There we go.
Amen.
All right, Aaron. I'll see you later.
Peace.
that note with Parker Whirling.